Hi, it's Bumble. Welcome back to my channel. So this will probably be a short one. I don't really have many notes on this, but this was the last of the movies I'd watched on Disney Plus when I was at my aunt's house. I'm not including it with the rest of those movies, that took up like the first half of September, just because I want that to be more of like, Disney month, because there's so much Disney stuff in here, and this one isn't a Disney movie. I think this one's actually by Don Bluth. Let me actually check that. I'm pretty sure though. Yes, okay. I thought so, because of like the art style, because I've been wanting to get more into his movies anyway. I didn't even know that this was one of them originally, or that this was on Disney Plus. I was just scrolling through and I was like, oh cool, Thumbelina, because I think I'd seen like the movie posters and stuff before. Yeah, let me see, because out of his, and I'll get to talking, oh, it's giving me like everything. Oh, this isn't a good list. This isn't what I was looking for. Yeah, because I've seen All Dogs Go to Heaven, Anastasia. The Secret of Nim was really cool. I think that's been my favorite so far. Oh, I didn't know he was the director for Titan AE. That was one I wanted to watch as well, but I don't know what that's on, so I'll have to find it eventually. But yeah, Thumbelina, this was actually pretty short. It's like a little under than an hour and a half. I'm kind of familiar with the story. I used to have one of those like Hans Christian Andersen like a book of those like fairy tales and stuff when I was little, and I remember the Thumbelina one a little bit. I always thought it was kind of weird of like, she's going around, she's kind of being passed around in a way of like meeting all these people and animals and stuff that want to marry her, and she doesn't want to marry them. It feels like even weirder in this one too, where it's like I just feel really bad for Thumbelina throughout the whole thing, where she's like born, and then it cuts to her singing with these animals, and then she is singing this song like a scene later about wanting to find romance and stuff. It's like you were literally just born. But this one is nice. She wants to marry this fairy prince that she meets at the beginning. Like they want to marry each other, but then they're separated, and then it's all of these animals and stuff that end up like trying to like kidnap her. But I do like that throughout the movie, the fairy prince, his name's Cornelius, I like that when they meet each other, she actually makes fun of him a little bit. You get scenes of him every once in a while trying to find and rescue Thumbelina, so that was nice. He felt like as much of a developed character as she did. I kind of assumed when they were separated at the beginning of the movie that we weren't gonna see him again until like the end of the movie. The music in this, I think music and like animation wise, yeah, but mostly the music I think was probably my favorite things of this. There's like surprisingly like a lot of the songs are really good. There's not like a ton of them, but I was consistently happy with them, and a lot of them are different styles too. I mean, I feel like that also helps because like Jodie Benson voices Thumbelina, and she voices Ariel. It's kind of interesting that when she sings, like this was made I think like 4 or 5 years after The Little Mermaid. She doesn't sound this, I know it's just like, yeah, playing different characters and stuff, but even when she's like singing, she only sounds like a little bit like Ariel. I kind of like that because I feel like if they sounded the same, it would have kind of been throwing me off. But her singing voice is always really nice to listen to. But I want to talk about the songs first, and then I'll talk about stuff with the plot. I don't know the name of all of the songs. I'm just kind of going off the lyrics. Like one of the first songs or like Thumbelina has a once and I want song about wanting to fall in love. That one is really nice. It kind of sounds a little like sad to it, but I really liked it. I think my favorite song, I'm gonna assume it's called Let Me Be Your Wings, because that's like the main lyric of it. It's this song that's sung by Cornelius to Thumbelina. It was my favorite. It was actually really good. It kind of made me wish that there was more. It made me think of like how in the some of the Disney movies, like with the live action ones, the princes get like an added song in those. They're not usually like romantic song. Well, some of them are, but they get a song, and I kind of wish. Now I'm thinking for like some of the Disney movies and stuff, like some of the romance, like the Disney princess ones. Now I'm thinking like, dang, they would be improved if the Disney princess had like a romantic song too, because I feel like that worked nicely here. So with like giving Cornelius this type of like romantic song to Thumbelina, it makes me think like, yeah, he wants her just as much as she wants him, and it's not just like her wanting to marry like as one-sided or anything. But yeah, it's a really nice song. I think my one thing with it is he sounds really loud sometimes, and I feel like it kind of drowns out the music. And the other thing is too, like, it's a really good song, but it plays like 3 different times in this movie, and it kind of felt like it was a little bit too much. But the first time that it plays is really nice. Actually, that was probably my favorite scene in the whole movie, where it's this little like romantic scene where Cornelius and Thumbelina, they're dancing on this lake. It's this whole like romantic flight at night thing. I thought it was really well animated too. It was just like really pretty, honestly. And then there's another song. It's kind of more like samba with these frogs. I wasn't expecting a song like that in this kind of like fairy tale movie. I was gonna say princess movie, but Thumbelina's not a princess, but it was cool. I liked it. And then there's this swallow that ends up singing a song about like following your heart. That was really catchy. I like that it kind of sped up in the middle of the song too. And then there's these Beatles that are at this like jazz club, and they sing a song that was probably the most catchy, even though I don't remember any of the lyrics. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the song Puttin' on the Ritz. So that was a fun one. And then after that, I don't really remember any of the songs. Like there's like, I think one more song, Mary the Mole, that's sung by this like really annoying mouse character. And that was okay. It just didn't stand out to me as much as the others. But yeah, all of the songs in this were really good. I don't know why that's always like such a nice surprise to me. It makes me think of like watching The Swan Princess as well, where that one also had really good music. I don't know why I go into some of these thinking like the singing's gonna be meh, or there's only gonna be like a couple good songs, but then it's like a really nice surprise of like, damn, all the music is really good, and you know, they get people that can sing and stuff. Anyway, let me go to like my, oh yeah, and Barry Manilow apparently did the music for this, was like the supervisor or something for the music, so yeah, no wonder it's good. But yeah, let me get into my actual notes. I like the character designs for this. I think they're pretty fun. I really like Thumbelina's design. I think she was my favorite. She just looks really pretty and just has this like softness to her face. And then I like how expressive a lot of the characters are too. There's this one scene where Cornelius is trying to tell his parents about like how badly he wants to rescue Thumbelina, and I was paying attention to just how much his face moves and everything as he's getting like kind of increasingly frustrated, and I'm like, damn, this is really good, like animation wise. Or I like the detail how the fairies, you mostly see it with Cornelius though, because he's like the main fairy, they have like this golden glitter that kind of trails behind with their wings. I feel like you see it the most when him and Thumbelina are dancing towards the beginning, and just the way the glitter, like as the wings move around and stuff, like if the character's moving in a circle, the glitter kind of trails in more of like a rounded shape. It's just like a lot of little details like that that were really nice. Let me see what else. I was kind of wondering if the fairies know that Thumbelina is basically like a tiny human, or if they just think she's like a fairy that happens to not have wings. I was kind of wondering about what she's exactly supposed to be anyway, because they show this little backstory thing at the beginning where she pops out of a rose and that's how she's born. And then when she ends up getting married, you see some of the fairies, they kind of, not that they're being born out of flowers, but like they're inside of flowers kind of in a similar way that she was. And then for some reason when Thumbelina gets married, or no, I think it's when Cornelius finds her and they're going to get married, she ends up like suddenly sprouting wings just kind of out of nowhere. It makes me think if she was possibly some kind of fairy all along, potentially. But I do think that like thematically that kind of works nice, because like throughout the whole story, people keep leaving Thumbelina in places and kind of controlling her a bit in a sense. Like even with Cornelius, like he just leaves her on this boat, doesn't even like take her home or anything to like, or no, that's not it. He does take her home and then he tells her like, hey, wait for me, and then I think she ends up getting kidnapped or something. Yeah, I forgot it starts with her getting kidnapped, but like all of these animals keep like taking Thumbelina hostage basically. So then it's nice at the end when she gets wings and she can finally just go wherever she actually wants to go, like get some agency. Let me see what else. I was not expecting the pink-haired toad with the huge breasts. That was kind of surprising. I keep forgetting this is a kids movie from the 90s where it would have stuff like that. But she and her family, they sing a song, like I mentioned, that was pretty cool. It's funny to me too that like it's kind of like a formula with this movie where an animal of some kind kidnaps Thumbelina, and they want to marry her. They want to marry her, but they don't mention it at first. Instead, they start singing a song or whatever, and she gets into it and starts dancing, and she sounds cool to hang out with them until they bring up marriage, and she's like, yeah, no, I can't do that. But she's fine around all of these people unless they want to marry her. I think one of the other designs I really liked was there's these characters called the jitterbugs, which are just these little tiny bugs that they don't really do like too much. Like they try to help find Thumbelina and to reunite her with Cornelius. But I thought they were pretty cute. I like that they kind of look like bugs, but they have these little like flower hats and stuff. Oh yeah, Gilbert Gottfried's also in this movie. That was kind of a cool surprise. It was funny too. I recognized him immediately. I mean, I think he's one of those. He has one of those voices you just kind of recognize immediately. When he's introduced, it's kind of funny, because Thumbelina, she sits through this whole song with all of these little animals saying they're gonna help her, and she's like cutely walking with the little jitterbugs. I think they're gonna take her home or something, because one of the other characters is like, I'll go find the prince, it's no biggie. So Thumbelina's like, okay, cool, I get to go home. So she's walking home with these little cute little bug guys, and then I just hear the Gilbert Gottfried voice character just starts like laughing really loud off screen, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be cool. But yeah, he voices this beetle. I don't remember the name of the beetle, but the beetle character, even without the voice, is like kind of funny. And then he takes Thumbelina to this club called the Beetle Ball. I thought it was going to be a ballroom because of the name, but it was cool that it was actually more of like a club instead, where it has all these like green crystals and stuff, and then they sing a song. I mentioned about the song already. It's kind of a bit jazzy. That was a really fun moment in the movie. Oh yeah, and then Thumbelina, I forgot about her mom. Her mom isn't really much of a character. She's like this old lady. I think the story is something of like she can't have kids, and then she ends up getting Thumbelina. But the mom surprisingly gets a song where she sing. It's a song that Thumbelina had sung earlier in the movie, but it's just kind of to show like, hey, she misses her kid, and she does get to show up at Thumbelina's wedding at the end, but she doesn't really appear for most of the movie. So on one hand, I get why the song's there, and it's kind of nice, but there's like so many other characters in the movie that I feel like the mom didn't need a song. And then Thumbelina ends up meeting this mouse, probably called like Miss Mouse or something, I don't know, because there's a mole that's called Mr. Mole, so I assumed all the animal characters had names like that. But there's this mouse character. I didn't like her. She seemed kind of mean, where she ends up rescuing Thumbelina because it starts snowing, and Thumbelina's like underground, and she gets really sad and doesn't really know what's going on. She doesn't want to be underground. And the mouse asks Thumbelina, and Thumbelina hasn't even had a chance to kind of settle in or kind of grasp her situation. The mouse is like, hey, I want you to go on this errand for me and go meet this stranger or something. And Thumbelina doesn't want to, and the mouse is just like, oh, but I saved your life, like trying to be like snooty about it or whatever. And it's like, dude, and then the mouse gets kind of worse, where there's this mole that wants to marry, named Mr. Mole, that wants to marry Thumbelina, and he tells the mouse character, like, hey, if you, I'm gonna pay you really good if you try to set me up with Thumbelina so I could marry her. And the mouse gets, like, a bit too excited about that. But then when that's happening, there's this dream sequence Thumbelina has where it's like her and Cornelius, and they're dancing in these clouds. But I like that the clouds are like orange. It's like a sunset. The colors are really pretty in that scene, because they have this other thing too where like Cornelius in a way kind of represents like sunshine and light, not just because his wings glow, but like usually in any scene he's in, there's kind of more light, and that's how Thumbelina talks about him. Because it starts off where I don't know, I'm assuming like fall or something, because then it ends up snowing, and then Thumbelina ends up getting more sad and like keeps talking about Cornelius and stuff. But yeah, anyway, that's actually all my notes. I really didn't have much, but I thought it was a cute movie. I will say that like after a while, I think after Thumbelina leaves the Beetle Club, I wasn't really as interested in the movie, especially because it kept cutting to all of these like side characters, of like the little jitterbugs and the beetle, and there's this frog guy that's like trying to marry Thumbelina, and it just kind of felt like too much, and they weren't really funny. But I will say that the beginning of the movie, where you're kind of getting more songs, and before Thumbelina really kind of starts getting kidnapped by too many people, I was like super into it. I was like, wow, how have I not seen this? It was really good. But then I kind of just was a little bit less interested as the movie went on, but I still thought it was a good movie. I mean, I've enjoyed like all the John Bluth movies I've watched so far. I'm glad that this was like more of a happy one, because let me see, if anything, it almost reminded me like a little bit of Anastasia, or no, not in, at least in terms of his movies are the ones I've seen. But I mentioned the happy one thing because I was thinking about All Dogs Go to Heaven, and that one I feel like I can't watch again because it's kind of sad. But no, this one reminds me, I mean, it could be because I just watched The Swan Princess, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, those are both, I mean, I guess I gotta watch more like 90s fairy tale movies, because both of those have been really fun. And now I'm like on IMDb, and I'm looking through some of these, and there's some I've never heard of. Like I just clicked on one called The Princess and the Goblin. The poster for it looks cool. Yeah, I guess I gotta watch more of these like kind of fantasy fairy tale type movies, because it's from like the mid 90s or so, because this has been pretty fun. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on it. Good movie. I also like the poster. I think it looks cool. Alright, that's pretty much it. Bye bye.